clear. Okay, so we're learning, the objective is that you will know what it means to solve a right triangle, and you will solve them. Okay, so what does that mean though? Okay, to solve a right triangle means that you have to find every single side and every single angle. Okay, well, there's only 3 sides and only 3 angles, guys. It's not that crazy. Okay, you need to remember the triangle sum theorem. Okay, that's the sum of all the interior angles of a triangle. The angles inside of a triangle add up to 180. Okay, and you need to remember the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or like I told you back in class, okay, a leg squared plus a leg squared has to be the hypotenuse squared. Okay, and so this is important, and this is important. Okay, so here to clarify, C is always the right angle, always the right angle. Okay, and right across from it, right across from the C, is the side. Okay, and we label it with a lowercase c. Okay, so notice this too. Okay, notice that A, okay, angle A is over here. Okay, but if you notice, little a, okay, lowercase a is over here, so opposite from the angle. Okay, so this is how we're going to be labeling things from now on. Okay, so then B is over here. Okay, right across from B is lowercase b, okay, which is the side. Okay, so capital letters are the angles, lowercase are the sides, and they're always opposite from each other. Okay, so now let's go back and talk about the problem we have to solve. Okay, so here we go. Example 1. We gotta solve this right triangle given the one angle and one side. Okay, so you're always given those 2 hints, an angle and a side. Okay, so if we're looking at here, okay, let's start with the angles. It's a little easier. Okay, if we look at here, we have the angle 49, we have 2 missing angles. Okay, but remember the angle C is always 90 degrees. Okay, so we already know that, so we can write, let me change the color here. Okay, we can write in here, this is just 90 degrees. Okay, that was easy. However, finding angle A is a little more complicated. How do you do this? Okay, well, by the triangle sum theorem, we know that the angle A plus angle B plus angle C has to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, but we already know these 2 angles, so angle A plus 49 plus 90 has to be 180 degrees. Okay, combine your like terms, combine these 2 numbers, you get that A has to, or A, not has to be A plus 139 has to be 180. Okay, are there any questions? Remember, you can always ask questions in the chat box. Just shoot me a question there. No questions so far? All right, we're about to finish this one. Okay, you can just shoot the question whenever you get confused, okay? Minus 139 minus 139. Okay, we're gonna get the angle A has to equal 41 degrees. There you go. So now we can fill this in. 41 degrees. Okay, so that was the easy part. Okay, so now let's go to the sides. Okay, for that we gotta use our trig ratios, sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, which side do we want to start solving? Okay, let's start solving side A. Okay, but before we even solve, okay, so this is our given angle. That's our angle that we have, 49 degrees. Okay, so if we label our triangle as opposite, okay, right across from the right angle is the height, and this is the adjacent. Okay, if we want to solve for A, okay, well, we're gonna have to use, well, we have opposite, we have adjacent. Let me use a different color here. Let me use yellow. We have opposite, we have adjacent. Okay, the ratio that relates these 2 has to be tangent. Okay, you need to memorize this by now. Tangent has to equal the opposite over the adjacent sides. Okay, so now we just plug this in. Okay, substitute all the numbers into our equation we just created. So tangent of the angle that we have, the 49, has to equal the opposite, which we said it was 7, over the adjacent, which is our letter A. Any questions? I know this is tricky. A lot of people are having trouble creating this equation. Okay, so please ask a question. Wait, how did you get the 7 there? How did you get the A? Ask a question, guys. All right. Okay, so now we solve for A. Remember, you cross multiply, and you get that A has to be 7 divided by tangent of 49. Okay? Preguntas, any questions right here? Okay, so A, remember this is the exact answer. We're about to use Desmos to actually figure this out. So 7 over tangent of 48. So then we put 7 divided by functions. Okay, we gotta use tangent of 49. Okay, and here's our answer. Okay, and remember, when you do it, you're gonna be in radians. Okay, I was working with Desmos a little bit ago, so I had to change it to degrees. Make sure you click on degrees, because if not, you're gonna get the wrong answer. Okay, so 6.085, 6.085 is what A is. So now we're gonna figure out what C is. Okay, well, we do the same thing. However, this time around, what are we gonna use? Okay, so C is the hypotenuse, and we already know the opposite. So that means that we're gonna be using sine. Okay, so sine of any angle is always the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Okay. All right. So here we go. So this is what we have. So then now we can write sine of the 49 that we have has to equal the opposite that we have divided by the hypotenuse, okay, which in this case has to be C, or is C. Okay, we do our cross multiplying. Okay, so that means that we switch the C with the sign, so we get 7 over sine of 49. Okay? And lastly, so we just got to put this in the calculator. We put our functions. We're using sine of 49 this time, and we get 9.275. So C has to be approximately 9.275. Okay, and we're done solving for this triangle. Okay, because now we know all the angles, and now we know all the sides. Okay, so then this is 6 point, what was it? 6.085, and C was 9.275. Okay, so then this is it. So every time you're solving for a triangle, you're looking for all the angles and all the sides. Yeah, that's perfect.